Welcome to HornbillTV Special Explainer. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Al Gully. The Supreme Court has practically pulled up the state apparatus for what it believes is an exploitation of state power and appropriation of administrative roles. The state government in question is the Gujarat government, and the case, the BILKIS BANO case. On Monday, the Supreme Court of India demonstrated a jarring response of rule of law adjudication that has rattled the Gujarat government. On January 8, the Supreme Court of India struck down the order of the Gujarat state government that led to the release of 11 men who were convicted of raping a woman, BILKIS BANO. They were also accused of killing 7 of her family members during the infamous 2002 post-Gotha riots in Gujarat. The Supreme Court declared that the Gujarat government was not the competent authority to be passing an order releasing the convicts. The court, in fact, termed the move of the Gujarat government a fraud act. The Supreme Court Justices B.V. Nagarthana and Ujjal Puyan pronounced the verdict rebuking the Gujarat government in this regard. In turn, the apex court ordered the convicts to surrender in 2 weeks and return to the jail. The bench said a petition filed by BILKIS BANO challenging the early release of 11 convicts was valid. That's what the court said. Earlier, BILKIS BANO had approached the Supreme Court after the 11 convicts were granted remission by the Gujarat government. What was the reason for the rape and murder convicts? According to media reports, they were released on grounds of good behavior. Reports said that the Supreme Court held as nullity its May 13, 2022 order of another bench asking the Gujarat government to consider the plea of the convicts seeking their early release. It was obtained by playing fraud on the court and by suppressing material facts. It said this was a classic case where the order of the court was used to violate the rule of law by granting remission. That's what the report said. Further, the Supreme Court proceeded to strike down the remission orders of the state government on the ground of usurpation of power by the Gujarat government. That's what the bench said. The court said that by suppressing material facts and making misleading facts, a directive was sought by a convict to the state of Gujarat to consider a remission. There were no directives from this court to the Gujarat government to reconsider remission. This is an act of fraud. That's what the bench said. Now, the apex court said further that the Gujarat government was not empowered to pass the order on the early release of the convicts. The reason was that appropriate government entitled to pass such orders was in fact the state of Maharashtra, where the trial took place, and not the state of Gujarat. The government of the state of Maharashtra, where the offenders were sentenced, is the appropriate government to grant remission. It is not the government of Gujarat where the offense took place. That's what the Supreme Court of India ruled. Now, let's have a look at the timeline of this case that shook the nation's conscience and continues to be a point of reference in India's long history of communal one-upmanship. Now, on February 28, 2002, BILKIS BANO and her family fled from a place called Randikpur after riots broke out following the burning of the Gotha train a day earlier. On March 3, 2002, the pregnant Bano is raped and 14 of her family members are killed by a mob. On March 4, 2002, the victim is taken to Limkade police station. A first information report is registered, but it does not state that she was raped. Again, the accused persons were not named, even though she identified 12 of them. They were said to be residents of Randikpur. On March 5, 2002, it is reported that 7 bodies of her family members had been found in the jungle of Kisharpur. On November 6, 2002, police submitted a summary stating that the case was true, but the culprits were not found. The authorities then reportedly requests for closure of the case. However, the court does not accept a closure report and instead directs it to continue with the investigations. And in February 2003, Lamkhade police resubmits a summary report requesting for closure of the case, which is accepted by the court. In April 2003, BILKIS Bano approached the Supreme Court appealing that the magistrate's order accepting the summary report be set aside. She then seeks the CBI for investigation in this regard. On December 6, 2003, the Supreme Court of India ordered the transfer of the investigation into the case to the CBI. On January 1, 2004, the CBI takes charge of the investigation from the Gujarat police. In February 2004, the bodies of the victims are exhumed for the CBI investigation. 109 bones are found, but the skulls of the victims are not found. Now, the Bombay High Court observed in its verdict that it appears that at some point the heads of the victims were cut off. That's what the court said. On April 19, 2004, the CBI filed a charge sheet in an Ahmedabad court accusing 20 persons in this case, including 6 police officers and 2 doctors who performed the post-mortem on the 7 bodies on March 5, 2002. In August 2004, the Supreme Court of India moved the trial of the case from Gujarat to Mumbai and directed the central government to appoint a special public prosecutor in this regard. January 21, 2008, the 11 persons are convicted to life imprisonment for murder, rape, and 7 persons are acquitted in this case, while 2 were abated during trial due to their death. During 2009 and 2011, the CBI then seeks enhancement of sentence for 3 of the accused persons to death sentence. The CBI also appealed against the acquittal of 8 others in this regard. In 2016, the Bombay High Court began hearing appeals. In May 2017, the Bombay High Court upheld the life imprisonment conviction of the 11 accused persons by the trial court. The High Court refuses to enhance the punishment in this regard and set aside acquittal of 7, which included 5 police officers and 2 doctors, and convicted them under sections 201 and 218 of the IPC then. The court then sentenced them to the period of imprisonment they had undergone, along with a fine. In July 2017, the Supreme Court of India dismissed the appeals by 2 doctors and 4 policemen against the Bombay High Court's conviction. On April 23, 2019, the Supreme Court directed the government to pay 50 lakh rupees as compensation to BILKIS Bano in this regard. It also directed the state government to provide employment and government accommodation at a place of her choice. In May 2022, one of the convicts by the name of Radheshyam Shah appealed against the July 17, 2019 order of the Gujarat High Court, which had ruled that Maharashtra would be the appropriate government to decide on his plea for remission. The remission was to be on the ground that he had completed 15 years and 4 months of his life term awarded in 2008 by a CBI court in Mumbai. Again, on May 13, 2022, the court asks the Gujarat government to consider Shah's application for premature release within a period of 2 months in accordance with a policy that was applicable in the state on the date on which he was convicted. On August 15, 2022, the 11 convicts were released from the Gosra sub-jail on remission by the Gujarat government. On September 2022, BILKIS Bano approached the Supreme Court in a writ petition challenging the premature release of all the 11 convicts. On January 8, 2024, the Supreme Court quashed the Gujarat government's decision to grant remission to the 11 convicts. The court has ordered the convicts to surrender and return to jail. The Supreme Court has overturned the Gujarat government's decision to grant early release to 11 convicts in the gang rape of Bilkis Bano and the murder of 7 of her family members. The court made clear that the Gujarat government lacked the authority to exercise this power. It is true that the verdict of the Supreme Court adds more complexity to the Bilkis Bano case, but it also may in some way inject more faith in the judicial system of the country for people who are seeking justice, but who often have to navigate through complex networks of politics, communal hurdles, legal imperatives, and lobbying, and of course, administrative indifference. Thank you for watching Hornbill TV. I'm Al Guli. See you next time.